Late Night with the Devil. I thought it was clever, inventive, great performance by David Dalmatian. Um, Not sure if it quite stuck the landing, but we can talk about that more in spoiler talk.
On Halloween night 1977, a late night talk show host attempts to boost his ratings by interviewing a teen girl who may or may not be possessed in Late Night with the Devil.
I really enjoyed it. I love the look of it that the filmmakers, the two directors chose. Like it looks like the late 70s. The acting's great. All the cast is really good. I also like the choice for the special effects when there are special effects that they look like they're from the late 70s or early 80s. But the costumes, it's kind of a brilliant idea for a small contained horror movie, one location. Um, it I highly recommend it, but it's not a perfect film by any chance, not by any standard. It's really good, but there are some problems, especially I think the ending.
Mhm. As we said, most horror movies just tend to be quickly made junk. This movie, very well done, and I think thoughtfully done, despite our criticism. So I'm in agreement with you that it wasn't great, but it was good. It was solid, I thought.
I thought it was almost great. Like I I saw in the theater. I sat down, my wife and I was fully invested in the world of the movie. So, like I would say oh wait, who did the narration? It opens with narration, and is it Michael Ironside? It sounded like Michael Ironside. It starts with narration about that. This is not a spoiler. It's the first 5 minutes in the movie where there's a little like fake documentary about the host of this late night talk show, who's always competing with Johnny Carson, but Johnny Carson's always beating him in the rankings. And so, is it Michael Ironside?
Yeah, it is.
You looked it up,
Which,
okay? Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't pick, I didn't get that. So I guess that's kind of an Easter egg itself, right?
I
Because
guess. Yeah.
he's famous for some horror movies. Well, at least, what is it? Trancers? No, not. What's the name of the It's the Cronenberg movie where
Scanners.
the yeah, Scanners.
Scanners. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably
Yep.
yeah. Um I guess my it reminded me of Talk to Me. That's the name of the movie, right?
The Australian horror
Also,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cuz this movie, I don't know if the directors of this movie are Australian, but it was shot in Australia.
Oh. Okay.
So another low budget Australian movie, horror
Mm-hmm.
movie that's also very clever.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I had a little bit of a problem with the ending. And I guess without going into spoilers, I think that from the very beginning, it's clear the path it's taking you on, you know, and
Yes.
the it's clear that it's gonna give you this very uh climactic ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's this slow build all the way through, and so you're expecting something. At least I was something bonkers, and it lives up to that.
Yes.
But didn't quite stick it. Um, what do you think?
Well, so I mean, the movie's about when is it set? It's late 70s, right? Or early 80s? It doesn't really matter.
77,
It's either 78 or 82, right?
77.
Oh, 77. Okay.
Mm.
Um, and it's a late night talk show, and it's a live taping, and it's on Halloween night, and the host is bringing in um well, basically, the main guest is going to be a young woman or a little girl. She's a girl, I guess, right? She's like 15 or 16. And she says she's possessed by a demon. And also, her doctor is coming in. And they're going to try to manifest the demon on live TV. And then, of course, because it's a horror movie, that happens. And it does get bonkers. And yeah, without going to spoilers yet, um, there is some extreme gore that was not, I did not expect at all. Um, and, but I liked it. It looked like it was done in camera with prosthetics, you know? Um, and then there were some VFX and they looked intentionally janky. Like they looked like there's some special effects of like electricity in the movie, and they look like it was like a movie done in 1977, and I love that. But yeah, the ending was not as strong as it should have been, and I don't think it made sense internally for the plot. I would have gone a different way.
But despite that, we both still think it's worth seeing.
Yes, definitely.
And there are people who probably will enjoy it as it is.
I mean, I enjoyed it as it
Um,
is, but I think to like if it was gonna be like a really great horror movie, you need to stick that last 5 minutes.
mhm.
You know?
Yeah, my other criticism is that the movie starts with a lot of exposition. It's kind of like a reel, kind of a documentary reel explaining all of the backstory and the life of the host, played by David Delm.
Dalsmatian,
Yeah,
Dalmatian.
I want to say Dalmatian like the dog, but
There's
that's
no
not
L.
right. Dust Malchin, Dust Malchin.
Dostmalchian, Malchian. Yeah.
Um, and it was, and I understand it, and it's a clever way to do it, but I just thought it was too long. It got,
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to get to it faster. It didn't. It kind of, I think it went a little too much into over explaining um,
I
the setup.
I agree. In fact, after I got out of the movie, I was thinking instead of it was like this little documentary about the life and trials of the this late night talk show host, and you find out right off the bat that he's a widow, and I thought it would have been smarter to keep with the whole idea that this is like a found footage movie, that we have the footage from the that was broadcast live, and then we also have footage the cameras are kind of backstage, and it should have just been, because it's sweeps week in the movie, that there should have just been a backstage camera crew that's interviewing him, like in his when he's getting his makeup done backstage. And therefore, instead of showing it or telling it, we can show it, like they say, oh, this is, your 10th show back after your wife's funeral, how are you doing with that? And we could see, they, sorry, David Dasmalchin, great actor. So I think if directors had chosen to do it that way, that would have been stronger. And then you just have him get out of his seat, and walk into the big camera on the stage. Um, and then during commercial breaks, those same like behind the scenes film crew could be filming him and his producer when things start to go off the rails. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I think I would have preferred to see something like that. Um,
Although then no
Either
Michael
that,
Eisen's Ironside.
right. Either that or just trim down that
Right.
beginning because it took a little while to get going.
Hmm.
But like I said earlier, I thought Desmalchin was one of the strengths of the movie, and it was surprising to me because he's always been kind of typecast as weirdos, in movies because of his look.
Hmm.
And so I wasn't necessarily expecting him to be able to generate that, late night host
That
vibe.
charisma.
Yeah. But I thought he did it really well.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see now if this is a springboard for him to have more diverse roles,
I hope it
or a
is.
leading
Yeah,
man
because
role.
he can lead a movie. And you know who also was really good was the young actress that played the girl that's possessed. She was really good, and so was her doctor. And I also really liked the skeptic, um, sleight of hand magician, and then the first guy who's the psychic. I thought everyone was really good.
Yeah.
And it sometimes they play it up a little hammy, but it feels like, oh, it's 1977 and it's a talk
Mhm.
show.
I felt like the skeptic guy, I thought, to me, he felt kind of like an Easter egg in that he's based on a real life
I
person.
did not know
I
who.
don't know if you've seen that.
Okay, no, no.
Um, I don't know his name.
Like,
But I've seen clips of him online because, like, in the '70s and maybe early '80s, he would appear on late night talk shows, and he had like a magician background, just like this character,
mm-hmm,
right? And then he turned. I guess this was kind of before we were old enough to see it, but there was this trend of magicians who were like mind readers and reading the audience and bending
right.
spoons with their mind. And so this guy came along and he was like, I'll give X amount of money. I have this blank check for anyone who
Oh,
proves to be a real psychic or telepath or
okay.
whatnot. And so he would be on Carson and whatnot to try and debunk these people, and of
Oh,
course nobody
right.
ever got the check.
Well, I mean, okay, so he's totally, yeah, that character is totally based on this
Yeah.
guy. That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Except though, this fictional character's a bit of an a-hole, right? And I don't think that the real life guy was like
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
All right, so we'll shift into spoilers now, but this is obviously for both of us a see it.
Yes.
So you want to talk about the ending?
Yeah. So the ending, the demon like fully takes control of the young girl, and the special effect of it is really cool. Again, it's like it's an effect from the 70s, but it's like her head becomes electric and splits open, but not bloody. It just like she becomes a demon, and everyone starts getting killed off, and the main character flees. He runs backstage, and then very quickly we kind of realize, oh, he's not he's not in our world anymore. There's these characters that come out. There's someone dressed as a bird who I think we saw a little early, because some of the audience members are dressed up in Halloween costumes, right? There was one, oh no, there's a guy dressed as a skeleton. But then there's this giant bird, which I didn't understand.
Oh, he was in the beginning documentary. He was part of that
Oh,
fraternity of
right, right, right.
whatever they
It,
were, like a Freemason type
right in
thing,
the woods,
dressed
and
in there.
there was someone
Yeah,
dressed up as a bird, or there was a bird statue.
yeah,
Um,
part of their rituals.
right. So like, I guess the kind of idea was that he sold his soul when he was a kid to become famous, and
Yeah,
right, I guess.
that was my thought, is that in that Freemason club or whatever, they did demonic or satanic
Uh huh.
rituals, And so he had made a deal basically with this, or maybe it is the
I
devil,
guess,
right?
yeah,
Like the
right, yeah.
devil
They never
or a
call it anything
demon,
else. Yeah,
right? To gain fame. But so he does, but it's not the way that he intended, right? So it ends up being that he becomes a murderer,
right.
right?
Like,
But that was kind of my
yeah,
reading.
like when he runs backstage, he hasn't actually run backstage. He's kind of being mind controlled, and he kills the the demon possessed girl who now just looks like a normal girl. So maybe she didn't look demon possessed to the TV camera. So it just looked like the movie ends and he kills a young girl on camera on live TV. And I think what they should have done is, wouldn't it be great for the devil to possess Johnny Carson and have Johnny Carson 5 nights a week in 50 million Americans home at home on their TV, and he can subtly start dropping hints that this is the way we should live. you know Satan is our friend, basically. And so I thought it should have ended with him becoming possessed, and then we cut and it's like from then on, this TV host, he beat out Johnny Carson every single night for the next 20 years. And he's still on TV, because that makes more sense to me, as opposed to just this demon or the devil, I guess, late night with the devil, taking this man's soul. And well, he doesn't even kill him. He's going to go to jail. You know what I mean? So it didn't make sense to me. And that's where it was like, if they just, in that the last 5 minutes, if they just, landed it would have been great. I would have said, this is it. I mean, it is great though. So I'm nitpicking. That's what we're doing. We really like this movie. We recommend it. Enjoy
That's
it.
that's what I thought. In a way, that's what I thought was gonna happen. In that they bring this possessed girl on, and no one really believes it, but it actually turns out to be the
Mhm.
devil. And by broadcasting this out to the nation, somehow the devil like possesses the
Okay,
country,
that too.
like, and
Yeah.
that's why so many bad things in the world happen after it, something like
Okay.
that. uh as opposed to like just like the gore fest that occurs.
When
um
was the Satanic Panic? Like, was it really the 80s, or did it start in the 70s? I think it started in the 70s. But like as a kid, I remember, like, you know, there were Satanists everywhere, you know? Like, I grew up in LA, and I was born in 1978, and I grew up in the 80s, and I remember like when the Night Stalker and the Hillside Stranglers were killing people. It was like, oh, it's the devil, it's Satanists. And that would have been cool if, like, after the movie ends, we have a little tagline, and then it's like, after this, Satanists started, having black mass everywhere. Um,
Now it says the Church of Satan was founded in 66.
yeah, but is the Church of Satan
uh
like really just, are they really Satanists, or is that just, they're,
uh
I don't
I
think
don't
they're,
know, but I guess,
yeah, I don't think there's
well, we their notoriety would have been then
in
in
the
the
70s. Yeah.
70s. I mean, yeah. um yeah, so when it turns into because I think part of the problem with the gore fest is that this this is this was presumably seen by a huge
Mm-hmm.
audience, right? They
Yep.
say like one of the biggest audiences
Right.
ever, and they witnessed this this insane stuff happening on, like the devil manifesting himself in this little
And
girl killing people.
levitating and
So what?
killing people.
Right. So this would have been like one of the most, or the most shocking thing in the history of the world,
Yeah.
right? If this had actually
Uh-huh.
occurred. So then to present it as just like, oh, here's the live footage of this incident on late night TV that happened one time, decades ago. It's a little
Although
strange.
at the very, very end, like the last 10 seconds, he thinks he's I can't remember. Does he think he's putting his dead wife out of her misery again? He's like
Yes,
killing his
yes,
wife, and then we
yeah.
cut and he's actually just killing, he's stabbing the young girl who her face is totally normal, and he's killed her, and all these other people are dead. Maybe what happened is that reality, when the audience is watching, they didn't see anything supernatural. They just saw him killing everybody.
Hmm.
And there
Something
and
like that.
earlier on, the skeptic guy, you know, he he does hypnotic suggestion on everyone there and on us, the audience, where you remember he tells like the sidekicks, there's a character like I can't think of it. Is that the train that I'm hearing? Okay. Um the David Dasmalchian, he's the host and there's a co-host. So the skeptic, who's also a magician, he does this trick where he convinces the sidekick that his stomach has filled with worms, and it splits open and it's disgusting, and then it's like, oh, it was just hypnotic suggestion. And so maybe, and then it was like they rewind the tape and it's, oh, his stomach didn't split open. So maybe that's what happens at the end. The devil does it, but it's, so we see the devil, but everyone else on watching TV, they just saw the host go crazy and kill everybody.
Yeah. Or they could have, the broadcast could have ended like in static before it really went crazy, but then we saw the behind the scenes footage of that
And
happening.
the
So
last
it
take
was,
is from the broadcast, where he's stabbing her.
yeah, and you just see
Yeah, and
the
he's just like, "Oh
aftermath.
my god, what have I done?"
Yeah.
Um, Either way, we're nitpicking. It's a great movie. Watch the movie, download the movie, stream it. Um, Definitely see it.